USA 352-433-2320. Thank you for your attention and God bless America.
Yeah, thank you. 21 minutes after 8 o'clock. That's an appropriate ad to follow Kathy from or with, whatever. Yeah, you're Kathy Bryant is in the studio. She is our county commissioner for District 2, yes. And she wants to keep being our county commissioner. So she's here to talk about her campaign, and we're going to do that. But I just good morning again. Thank you.
Good morning.
And it is appropriate that it follows that ad for Vets Helping Vets, because I have seen you at almost every veterans event. In fact, weren't you instrumental in the Veterans Resource Center?
Absolutely.
That whole big thing over there.
Absolutely. Shortly after I was elected in 2010, Hank Whittier and I took a tour of the VA medical clinic in the Cascades, and we started talking about the different needs of veterans in our area. And I remember looking at him and going, wouldn't it be great if we had one place where veterans could come to find out about all of their services? And it wasn't long after that, just a few short years, when we started looking into purchasing the old bowling alley and thinking about what we could do with that we started working on that.
Isn't it amazing that building was available so close to the Veterans Park?
Absolutely. And, the interesting thing about it is when people first started thinking about it, they were like, but then once we started looking into it, it just made sense to have everything right there. You have your government agencies in one side of the building. Right. And then in the other side of the building, you have the Veterans Resource Center, which is a one-stop shop for veterans to be able to come in and find out, besides the government resources, what other resources are available to them.
Absolutely. It's a wonderful contribution to the veterans in our community. The only complaint I have about it is that Hank doesn't do a show anymore. He's so busy over there. I know. You got to do something, Kathy.
I'm going to call him.
You have to.
As a matter of fact, I should call him right now.
You should say, Hank, what is up with Thursdays? You can't take an hour.
I will. You know what, Hank, if you are listening, we need to have a discussion.
Well, we've been proud as a radio station to have had that Veterans News show for, oh my gosh, I've been doing this 16 years, and I think it started 1 year after I got here.
Right.
So it's going on for 15 years. And I think it makes a huge contribution.
Absolutely.
To the veterans community and the community at large.
Well, there's so much that goes on in our community regarding veterans because we have so many in our community. In Marion County alone, I think the number is 45,000. And then within a 75-mile radius, there's 300,000 veterans. And it's just, the numbers are astounding. And, our community has always been so supportive of our veterans, and taking care of those that took care of us is extremely important to us as well. And, that's why, one of the other things that we've worked really hard on over the course of the last 4 years was getting funding for the state VA nursing home.
And how much did you get?
Well, after 4 years, we were able to secure, I know you do. We were able, you're going to see if I have my numbers correct, aren't you?
No.
We were able to secure $500,000 for funding for design and planning of the next VA state nursing home. And we're really super excited about that, especially now. I was, been talking with Congressman Yoho's office over the course of the last couple of months. We found out that—
He was here yesterday, by the way.
He's such a great guy.
He was a great guest. I had never interviewed him before. So.
Really?
Yeah.
He's been in, he comes to Marion County quite a bit, and he's been a really strong advocate when it comes to projects for Marion County. But anyway, so we've been talking to him because they're going to do a new outpatient VA clinic. I'm sure he talked about that yesterday. And we've actually been having some conversations about the possibility of joining forces and having that outpatient clinic and the state nursing home all be on the same campus because of the synergy that's there.
That is a good idea.
And it always makes sense.
It always is a good idea when you do that kind of a thing, yeah.
Yes. Cost savings and synergy. You've got it all right there. So we're not quite sure how far along they are on the VA medical clinic. Depends on where they are, but we are having those conversations.
By the way, I hadn't looked at my sheet till just now. So everything we spoke about with the veterans is only because I've seen you at all these different events.
Awesome.
The one that I'll never forget was the boxing match you did.
Oh, gosh.
So I don't think I've had a chance to ask you this. I asked Hank this,
Okay.
but I'm going to ask you.
Okay.
You were holding back, weren't you?
Of course.
Because I watched you before you actually fighting Hank, right?
You watched that warm up.
I watched
round.
you. Yeah, you were walloping that. What do you call that guy with the hand thing? You punch his hand. What is that called?
I don't. He was the trainer.
Yeah,
he was my trainer.
You're like
He
me,
was great.
He's got a word for that. But yeah, you were punching that guy's hand.
We had a great time. You know what I have to say, Mr. Camacho. So you've met him?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I think he's 70 years old.
Okay.
And when I was training and getting ready for that, he said, "All right, you're going to have to go through my workout." And I'm like, "Okay, fine." And
Like, how bad could it be, right?
oh, it was hard. The next day I got up and I'm going, I'm sore all over. I mean, boxing is really, it's a very hard sport, and you have to be extremely fit in order to be able to participate in that. And I always told them they would never get me in the ring, and I wouldn't participate because I was like, but I have to say I have a whole new level of respect for the athlete, because they have to be very well trained, the endurance that you need.
Yeah. So Robert and I came up with a scorecard for candidates, not just local, but anybody really. Some of them are only local, but candidates. And one of the things that you get a score of 1 to 5 on is how often do we see you or see the candidate at an event that has nothing to do with campaigning? And you get 5 stars on that one, obviously, 5 points, whatever, because you're everywhere. Like you mentioned before we went on the air about Ocala's Got Talent. I know you were one of the judges in that.
Yes.
And that takes time out of your day to do that kind of stuff. So, and then every event I've seen you at, and even things that we're not at, you're in the photo. So you're showing up everywhere. It's an important part of what you do, I think.
It is. I absolutely love Marion County. Obviously, it's my home. It's where I was born and raised, and I truly have a passion for it. And it's been really amazing to see what we've accomplished over the last 8 years. You think about where we were when I was elected, and to see our community thriving again. That's probably been one of the most rewarding parts of doing what I do. And I've had people ask me, on a couple of occasions, they said, "We thought you were going to go do something else." And I said, I really feel like I can advocate for my community better here at the local level than I can anywhere else. And it's about making sure that our community continues to thrive, and that we preserve the things that we have, so that my children, my grandchildren, your grandchildren,
right,
everyone here in our community has the availability of the future, and the quality of life that we have today.
Whenever there's an incumbent, Mr. Yoho yesterday and yourself today, you have a different perspective than somebody who's never held that seat before.
Yes.
So tell me about the feedback you get from your constituents regarding the economy, regarding the jobs and all of that, because I know you've worked really hard on some of those issues.
We have. There are so many people out there that are really happy with the way that our community is moving and the things that we've done. When I ran in 2010, number one on my platform was jobs, and not just any job, but diversifying our economic base and bringing better paying jobs to our community. And
we've had some good ones move in too.
Yes, we have.
Yeah.
And we're going to continue to work on that. I talked to a young guy. He was, I think, maybe 18 years old, had just graduated high school, and he was working at one of the new businesses that just opened, and he's working in the warehouse, and he's making, I believe, $13, $14 an hour. And he was
awesome.
Thrilled with that,
Sure.
And we didn't have those possibilities 8 years ago.
No.
And it's not just, the Commerce Park, but it's our existing businesses as well. Existing businesses are growing. They're able to do more for their employees. Marion County is really in a
It's
great
really
place
growing. Yeah, we
and
are.
growing.
Yeah, and just drive around, you see new things going up everywhere.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. Do you want to talk at all about the cross connector highway?
Coastal Connector. Sure.
Thank you.
Sure. So Coastal Connector, FDOT, they did their unveiling of that project. I believe it was in April, and immediately the county commission went to work because the public didn't feel, I think, that they had an opportunity to be heard. We actually.
Oh yeah. Well, I'm doing a talk show. You hear everybody
Yes.
on every issue. There's very few issues that are unanimous. That one was kind of unanimous.
Oh, absolutely. So, the county commission immediately asked FDOT to come up for a workshop, and we actually allowed public comment at that public hearing, and everybody that wanted to speak got an opportunity to speak. And FDOT heard clearly that this community did not want that highway coming through it.
Yeah.
So the board took action, and we sent a letter to Governor Scott. Mayor Gwynn got an answer back from Governor Scott, and we very quickly wrote another letter to the governor.
Oh, he was rejecting what you were trying to say?
He didn't reject it. They just their first response came back, and it said that they were postponing, and so
right.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I immediately had another letter drafted.
That wasn't good. Postponing isn't good enough. Right?
That wasn't what we wanted. No, we wanted it. We wanted the study terminated, and we wanted it canceled. And so we sent the governor another letter, and then I actually went to Tallahassee and met with FDOT Secretary Mike Dew on a Tuesday, and the following Wednesday, the routes came down off of the website. So it's.
Wow, I didn't realize that part of the story. Well, good for you.
Yeah, and
Wow.
and I'm not taking credit for that. I'm just saying that after having a conversation with him, because I talked to him about the fact that those routes were still out there. And I said, if you have property out in that area and you are looking to sell it, you have to disclose that. And, I said, it's starting to kind of affect our sales. And so he said, well, the one thing we can do is definitely get that down. And so they took that down. And I'm sure that it's something that we're going to probably have to keep reminding them that we don't want that here. We're really thinking they've actually said that they're going to follow the I-75 task relief, the relief task force's recommendations about improvements on 75. And then I think looking at the original routes that they had proposed.
Okay. Yeah, because that is, in fairness to what they were trying to do,
right.
The fair thing is, well, what are we going to do about all the congestion? And so that would have been one answer.
Well, and we've got projects here that are going to somewhat help with the congestion that we see. One of the heaviest traveled corridors on I-75 between Wildwood and I-10 is between 484 and State Road 200.
Oh, is that right?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
And so, we have a road project.
Why is that?
Because you have a lot of people that jump on at 484 coming into town to get off on 200.
Because of the turnpike.
Well, not because of the turnpike. They're coming into Ocala to go to work. And then, they have to go back.
It's interesting, isn't it? I wouldn't have thought that. Yeah.
Yes. Huh. And so, when we get our 49th Avenue project done, which is, going to be a few years, but that's going to give us another north-south corridor. And then eventually we have the interchange that will be between 27 and 326. And that will go over, connect into 35th. And that will be another east-west corridor for our county as well. So it will actually, we're going to eventually have an entire bypass around all of those very heavily traveled areas for people who are trying to get from one side of the county to the other, or say you've got truck traffic that's coming in from Silver Springs. They can bypass, coming down through downtown. All of these things are years away, of course, but when we talk about growth, that's what we have to do. We have to plan for the future. And so those are some of the things that we are planning on.
Kathy Bryant is with me right now. And Kathy, of course, is our county commissioner for District 2. She wants to keep that job, and she's hoping that you'll vote for her again. So what I normally do is I stop talking and let you kind of just talk and say whatever you want to the listeners. And then when you're done, then I have 3 silly left field questions for you.
Oh, goodness.
Okay.
And I haven't watched any of the interviews, so.
It's everybody's favorite part is the left field questions. They're the harmless, Kathy.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, I just would like to say to the listeners out there that, I am Kathy Bryant. I am your current county commissioner in District 2, and I'm also a candidate for Marion County Commission District 2. I've done what the citizens of this county elected me to do in 2010. We've worked really hard to diversify that economic base. We've helped we've done what government can do as far as when it comes to job creation with infrastructure, and we've helped bring our unemployment down from 14.3% to 4%. We've also been fiscally responsible with your tax dollars, and coming through the Great Recession, we've been able to address the challenges that we've had. We've been able to fund our law enforcement and our first responders. And there's a lot of important things that are going to be happening in our community over the course of the next 20 plus years. Our population is expected to grow from 350,000 to over 525,000,
Wow.
which means we have to plan now. We
Yeah.
have to plan how we're going to accommodate that growth, but not just accommodating growth, but making sure that we maintain who we are. We've got to protect our natural resources.
Yes.
If you want to ask me, what is it that I'm going to do? I'm going to continue to do for you what I have done over the course of the last 8 years. I'm going to make sure that I'm a fiscal conservative, and with not just your tax dollars, but those are my tax dollars as well. So I want to make sure that they're spent in the right way. I'm going to make sure to support good infrastructure projects. I'm going to make sure that we are able to support our law enforcement and first responders, because having a safe community is extremely important. I'm also going to make sure to advocate for our veterans, make sure that they're taken care of. And then also to make sure that we continue to make sure that we bring good, sound economic projects into the community. My goal is to make sure that we have a community that is thriving, where people can have higher paying jobs, where they feel safe when they go out, and there are wonderful recreational opportunities, which we have those as well. There's a lot going on in Marion County, and our tourism is extremely important. I don't know if you realize it or not. We had 2 million people visit Marion County last year.
Is that right?
Yeah, which that was over $1 billion in economic impact, which means that saves you and I around $400 to $500.
No sales tax, right?
Well, we do have the 1% sales tax, but
I mean income tax.
That's state income tax. But no, it means what that equates to, that $1 billion in economic impact from our tourism, is about a $400 to $500 savings to us on our property taxes. I also, I'm excited about Marion County. I'm excited about our future. And I tell people all the time, don't blink. You'll miss something.
Yeah. No, we've got so much going on. And Robert and I say all the time on the air that we appreciate the work that you've done, that our city council people have done. I think you all are doing a great job. We thanked God for the safe, the good outcome for that almost crazy shooting at Forest High School.
Oh, yes.
And not to bring something horrible up, but the everything that was put in place by Dr. Mayer, by the sheriff's office, by everybody that was involved, made that less than it could have been.
Well, and if you look around the state, there are other communities that have had a hard time funding the school resource officers. And so I don't know if you're aware of this, but the day after that shooting, I made a phone call to our county administrator and to our clerk to make sure that we could move almost $2 million.
I remember seeing the article.
The sales tax to the sheriff, so that he could go ahead and start purchasing the capital that he was going to need to hire those additional school resource officers. And then, of course, our entire board unanimously approved that, because we had the money from some savings from some of the sales tax projects.
All right, you ready for your left field question?
Sure.
All right. First of all, let me thank you for your contribution to this community. I think you're
Thank
making
you.
this a better place to live. I want to say that. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Here's your left field questions. What is right now at this moment hanging from your rear view mirror in your car?
Nothing.
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 Nothing hanging there. No dream catcher. No memento. Okay.
No.
How long before you throw away leftover hot dogs in your refrigerator?
A week.
1 week and you throw them away.
Yes. All leftovers go after a week. But I am a huge leftover eater.
It goes longer than a week for me. Robin,
Really?
on the other hand, she's on the same page as you are. 1 week.
Is she a date person too? Like, does she look at expired dates?
She must.
Or does she eat it after it expires?
Well, I might.
You might.
All right. And the last one is, do you own any ballet slippers?
Yes.
You own ballet slippers?
I do.
Do you ever wear them?
I haven't in a while.
Did you study ballet?
So I was a ballet dancer. You might not know this, but 35 years now. It's been a long time. So I don't know if you remember Jeannie Benson, Jeannie's School of Dance.
Oh, I think I do. Yes, it was on. It was over
on 17th Street. It's still there.
Okay. Oh, it is still there. Okay.
Yes. And so I was an original Jeannie Benson girl, and I was there when the Marion Performing Ballet was actually formed, and I was actually the very first Nutcracker in the first production of the Nutcracker by the Marion Performing Ballet. And I think it's been over 35 years ago.
Can I find that on YouTube somewhere?
I don't know if you could. And so I do have ballet slippers because being an old ballet dancer, I do like to there's a class called Power Bar at the Performing Arts Conservatory.
Right.
And so when I have time, which I haven't had any in about a year and a half, I go and participate with Aaron and Lisa over at PAC. And that's how I get to relive my old ballet days. There you go. Something a lot of people probably didn't know.
Can we get like Joe and Hank and all those guys to do that with you one day?
You know what?
Because I'll come with the camera. And
I think that it's only fair, since I jumped in the ring with Hank,
yeah, that's a good idea.
that they come take a power bar class.
Kathy Bryant, always good to see you. You're
see you.
at everything. It's nice to have a chance to talk to you. Thank you for coming in here and doing this. And again, thank you for what you do for us. You're making this a better place to live. Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll be right back. We've got News Bites coming right up.